there, welcome back. So think about the last time you were in a difficult conversation with someone who, like you, had very strong convictions about the topic. Healthcare, same-sex marriage, women's reproductive rights. Pick a topic. The more research and facts you presented that contradicted his or her opinion, the more entrenched that person became in theirs. We've all been there on both sides of the debate. Like on one hand, our values and convictions are what make us who we are, and we work really hard to protect them. On the other hand, acknowledging we may be wrong about a deeply held belief and integrating new information and understanding into a more enlightened view is excruciatingly hard. We'd like to believe that when our beliefs are challenged with facts, we alter our opinions and we incorporate that new information into our thinking. The truth is that when our deepest convictions are challenged by contradictory evidence, our beliefs actually get stronger. There's a sharp disconnect between dissonant information and personal ideology that explains this righteous indignation that often brings civil discourse to a screeching halt.
You snotty little bastard.
You can't handle the truth!
Generally, our resistance to consider opposing viewpoints come from two sources. One, we know we're right and that other person is wrong.
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong. And there's nothing you can do about it.
And two, to even consider an opposing perspective has merit would suggest that our own perspective is flawed. And that's really hard. When we get information that's consistent with our beliefs, the natural tendency is to lean in and pay attention and use that information to underscore what we already believe to be true. But when the information is dissonant or contrary to our beliefs, we find it biased and flawed, not even worthy of our consideration. The human brain simply prefers explanations that take less effort to process, and consolidating these conflicting facts with our existing beliefs is enormously straining. And those are exactly the times that our mental shortcuts kick in. Specifically, there are 3 mental shortcuts that explain why facts don't win arguments. The first is confirmation bias. It's this tendency to embrace information that supports our belief and reject information that contradicts them. Of the many forms of faulty thinking that have been identified, confirmation bias is among the most pervasive. One of the most famous confirmation bias studies was conducted at Stanford. Researchers rounded up a group of students who had opposing opinions on capital punishment. Half of the students were in favor of it as a proven crime deterrent. The other half were against it and thought it had absolutely no impact on crime. The students were then asked to respond to 2 fictitious studies with very compelling data. One provided data in support of the deterrence argument, and the other provided data that called it into question. The students who had supported capital punishment found the supporting data highly credible, and the non-supporting data unconvincing. The students who had opposed capital punishment, it was the exact opposite. At the end of the experiment, the students were asked again about their views, and those who were in favor of capital punishment at the beginning were now even more in favor of it. Those who had opposed it were now even more opposed. The second is the egocentric bias. It's the belief that my view is right and true. Specifically, the egocentric bias occurs primarily due to the fact that we spend the vast majority of the time seeing things from our own perspective. So we naturally examine and remember events primarily through our own personal point of view. But what's really important about the egocentric bias is that it causes people to project their values and beliefs onto others, or to ignore other people's viewpoint entirely. I'm right, you're wrong. The third bias is the backfire effect. Decades of research show how fervently we protect beliefs when confronted with information that conflicts with them. It's an instinctive defense mechanism that kicks in when someone presents information, even statistically sound research or data, that disputes your position. Those facts and figures just backfire and strengthen the misconception. Look, It's our natural tendency to think we see things the way they are. It's more accurate to say that we see things the way we are. And the ability to change our own thinking with an alternate point of view is a very unique skill. To learn more about these 3 unconscious biases and that unique skill we need to overcome them, check out my most recent blog post. And to learn more about how the brain works and how to make it work better, check out my books, Happier Hour with Einstein and the full-color companion Gratitude Journal, available now on Amazon.